So OneDrive is Microsoft's kind of crappy equivalent to Google. Yeah, this is where I get This is where I get sharper and sharper. Sorry, guys. Cool. No, I haven't heard of it. Yeah, we'll get into all that stuff. Cool. Shares. Cool. System for creating systems. Pretty useful. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Good stuff. Uh-huh. Cool. Yeah, 2080 rule's a good one. The pool boy rule. All right. It's called the pool boy rule because as we were calculating that and going through the exercise, someone in the audience yelled out, "I need a pool boy." But anyway, there you go. So before we get into this one, I just wanted to share something with you guys. So who likes shortcuts? Yes, great. So we have a shortcut for getting you started with Google Sites. So here's the pitch. Get ready for it. But we've got a product which is a template for Google Sites, which helps you get started so you're not starting from scratch. Who feels it's a little bit daunting doing this systemization thing, like just starting, right? But we've got a product that actually will help you get started. I'm going to show you guys that and give you a even super sexy shortcut to help you out with it. So on our website, IT Genius, if you go to Systemization and Education in the product section, we have a product called the Genius Net. Second one down, Systemize Your Business with Google Sites. Now, what Google Sites is free. There's no hosting costs, there's no ongoing costs, you don't need a Google Business account. We're about to talk about Google Business accounts, you don't have to use those. All you need for Google Sites is a Gmail address, and everything I've shown you can get done for free. We have a small shortcut which does two things for you. Number one, it gives you a template to get started with Google Sites. So it helps you have some structure and a bit of a framework to get started with in Google Sites so you're not starting it from absolute scratch. And this is what it looks like. So you actually get this template with all of these sections built out for you. There's example processes in there, basically to help you so you're not starting from absolute zero. And also there is a video training library with 30 training videos on how to use Google Sites. So that will train you and your team on how to create your pages, how to add, remove, change a page, how to embed your content, how to put your videos in Google Drive and then embed them to sites, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So that's our product. Normally our street price for that is $500. But for you guys, we're going to do a very special deal. And if you use the promo code B4B, write that down. So little letter B, number 4, letter B, or lowercase. And then you just go to the checkout here, and where's my promo code field? I already put it in. So you just put in B4B down there in the promo code field, you hit apply, and we'll take $200 off the price to get it for $297. So it's just a one-off, no ongoing fees or anything like that. We don't do phone sales or anything for that product. So if you're interested in it, try it out, 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't get amazing value from it, then just let our accounts, don't email me, I'll be sad, but let our accounts team know and they'll give you a refund. Is that cool? Awesome. Useful? Yeah, awesome. Go grab that. Thousands and thousands of business owners have taken us up on that product just to help you get started. And if you don't use any of our content that's in the template there, at least if you've put down $300, that's ex-GST by the way, but if you put down $300, you'll be motivated to do something with it because you're invested. Right? Useful? Awesome, cool. All right, there you go. There's the pitch, guys. Whew. All right, cool. So in this session, we're going to talk about Google Apps. Thank you for your shares, guys. This session, we're going to get deeper into running your business with Google and what Google actually allows you to do. Now, this is really powerful stuff. This is our core business. The productivity stuff I talk about because I love helping business owners free themselves from the business. This is actually our core business. This is the stuff, mostly what we do on a day-to-day basis. And what Google Apps allows you to do is run your business from anywhere on any device. Now, I'm going to be a little bit mean to Microsoft in this session. Just pre-framing and letting you guys know. It's only because we're now the #1 Google partner in Asia Pacific. So, we wear the Google underpants happily and firmly. I make No apologies for which side of the fence I'm on. But what I don't want to do is, I don't want you guys to feel bad when I hang crap on Outlook and the Microsoft world and stuff like that, because the point here is that what I want to convey to you is I want to help educate you guys so you can ask questions about what you're currently doing. Ask questions about who's advising you. Ask questions about the way that you're doing things. Microsoft have a great suite of cloud-ish, I'm still being mean, of cloud applications, and look, they do a really great job, and they've got a new CEO, and they're really, really getting their shit together. I'm going to present the Google story, but I want you guys to not think that this is like a Google versus Microsoft thing. What this is to educate you guys to ask questions about how you're doing things. Everyone agree with that? Is that cool? Awesome. All right. So this is our kind of mission and vision statement. We want to help ambitious business owners leverage technology to enable freedom. I already talked about freedom, and whatever that means to you, we want to help you get there. And what we want to do is put the right tools in your hands so you don't feel like you're a slave to the tech machine, so you don't feel like you're fighting it. We want you to feel in control. We want you to know that technology is a tool for you to leverage, for you to grow your business, for you to use for extra prosperity and freedom and everything that you want. That's what technology should be. And that's our mission, is to help business owners. I'm the son of a carpenter builder who's not the biggest tech whiz in the world. He's pretty techo, but he's not super tech. He's of the baby boomer generation who didn't grow up with technology. He had to learn it, like I'm sure most of you guys did. When he was in high school, he had chalk and slate. He didn't have iPads or Chromebooks or anything else. So that's really my mission, and that's what brings me alive, is helping people, and especially business owners, because I'm from a family business family, to get tech on their side. And this is my idea of freedom. My idea of freedom is the ability to travel. This is in Seminyak in Bali. My idea of freedom is to be able to travel, still run my business, but explore the world with my partner and have that freedom. This is our team in Sydney. This is our team in the Philippines, a little bit bigger now, about 3 times as many people. As I said, we're a Google partner, and what we do is we implement Google business technology into small businesses. So we've this year acquired a couple of our competitors and all that kind of stuff, but we started an IT business 8 years ago. 5 years ago, we really started getting good at this Google stuff, and we decided, well, if the rest of the IT industry is going to go down the Microsoft and the Office 365 path, while they're yinging, we're going to yang. We're going to go the other way. And we're now Google's top partner for small businesses in Australia and New Zealand, which is pretty cool. Now, at the big end of town, Accenture, PwC, and Deloitte are all Google partners. They're doing the same thing that we're doing, and they're taking this technology into large businesses, which is very, very interesting, because those consulting businesses have now seen, well, this is exactly what Google can do for an organization, and they're helping the big end of town do that. But we love small business, so we work with typically businesses 30 employees and under. We've got some media and blah, blah, blah along the way. I want to talk to you guys about this. This is what we believe are the 6 driving forces for cloud technology and how they're shaping small businesses into the future. And we saw this coming a couple of years ago, and these are the forces that are really changing how small businesses are going to adopt and adapt and actually work. So the first big one is the consumerization of technology. I'm guessing everyone's used Dropbox here before, right? Now, Dropbox, you go to dropbox.com, it's easy enough for mum or nana or anyone to do it. You download it, you install it, and you start using it. Who was not involved in that process when you set up that piece of software? Oh no, I mean, when you did it yourself, because you did it yourself, right? But there was someone who's normally involved when you set up new software. Techie, right? There was no techie in that process, was there? You did it yourself. And so just like when you go to gmail.com and you sign up for a Gmail address and you just put in your details and bang, there we go, we've got the app, I can use it now. When we installed what is nearly enterprise business software, you did it yourself. That's the consumerization of technology. Technology that we manage, own, and control ourselves without paying the IT guy tax, right? Without throwing cash at a scary black box sitting in the corner that we don't understand. And that's the number one change. It's the biggest one. The next one is rented software. Applications like Xero.com. Instead of throwing $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 at a complex software implementation and hoping that it works at the end of it, we sign up for $50 a month and we try it out and we see how we like it. And if we don't like it, well, we can pull the pin and we just stop paying our monthly fee. Those two scare the shit out of your IT guy. Because all of a sudden, he's not needed anymore. And so what he'll be doing is, in most cases, selling to you with fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The cloud is bad, and all of those other messages that you hear through not only the people advising you, but the tech news, and they make it to mainstream media as well, because those ideas support those that need those ideas to still have work. So be very careful about anyone purporting that idea to you, because I'm guessing most of you are already using Xero, right? Yeah. And is it evil? No, it's awesome. It's awesome, right? So be very careful about someone who's telling you, well, no, the cloud is bad, or it's unsafe, or, is it encrypted properly, that kind of stuff. Yes, you've got to make sure the security is there, but make sure that you're in the driver's seat when you're making the decisions with these. Next up, integrations between different apps. Zapier is a little app that helps cloud apps talk to each other. What I can do with Zapier is I can say, well, when a new customer is created in Xero, add a new row to this spreadsheet in Google Sheets. Or when somebody registers for my lead magnet on my website, automatically add them as a contact in my CRM. Or add them as a contact in my, add them to Xero, or add them to the spreadsheet. This helps cloud apps talk to each other. And what that means is we're reducing the need for double entry and the old way of doing tech systems, which was if you wanted two things to talk to each other, you throw $10,000 at a developer to build something to get them to talk to each other. Outsourcing, this is a big one. We're starting with VAs, and those that are getting a little bit further along the road have full-time staff and teams, primarily in the Philippines, but in other countries as well. And what this is allowing is the most agile small businesses to really change up business models. Because in a world of Airbnb and Uber and GoGet, I drove a GoGet down here because both of my cars are in for service at the same time. But in that world, your customers don't want to pay for excess. And if you don't service them and give them tremendous value, they'll go straight to the source. They'll skip you out completely. They'll educate themselves and they'll find a way to circumnavigate you completely. So, the way to combat that is to be innovative yourself, to embrace outsourcing, but also have a look at your business model and think, okay, well, in 5 years, in 10 years' time, is this still going to be relevant, and how can I position myself to be the leader rather than the follower? All device access, pretty obvious one. We want to be able to work from wherever we are and whatever device we're working with. Us as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we don't want to be stuck going to the office. We want to be able to pick the kids up from school, get a couple of hours work done at home in the afternoon, or do a bit of work while we're on holiday. Or maybe not go to the office and work from a cafe or a beach or somewhere else, or maybe even just between visiting clients. And finally, connectivity. Whatever version of the NBN everybody gets, think about the NBN like the App Store was when it came out on iPhones, 2008, 2009. Now, the App Store didn't really have much in it, but it was a platform. That platform allowed developers to build apps and services that we hadn't even dreamt up when the App Store was released. And us just having better connectivity for our businesses allows us to open new doors as well. So one of my friends, her name's Joyce, she runs a video production business. She helps small businesses film testimonial videos, events, all that kind of stuff. And what she used to do was film the event and then stay up all night editing and getting it all done. Or she'd have staff doing that. What she does now is she'll film an event, 30 to 40 gigabytes of data generated from one shoot. She'll drop that into Google Drive. Overnight, her editors in Ukraine edit the videos, and then by morning, they're back in her Google Drive, completed. Yeah. And salary is $100 a week for one of those editors in Ukraine. Just requires the connectivity. So those kind of shifts are happening in small businesses now, not just large businesses, but small businesses. And that opportunity, I think, is massive. So I don't say this stuff to scare you guys. This is an opportunity. And for you guys to look at these market forces and go, how can I use these to position myself for my customers? That's how you really win. Exciting stuff? Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right. So let's get into some of the more googly stuff. This is the old way of doing it. You've got a server, sits in the office. Anytime you want to get work done outside, you've got to dial in, remote desktop, VPNs, blah, 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 all that junk. Anyone still in server hell land? Anyone? Yeah, okay, cool. It's all right. You can be saved. It's all right. Oh, yeah. This is the new way. Our devices connect to online cloud-based services, and it doesn't matter where we are, what device we're using. As long as we have that connectivity, we're able to get our work done. And in some cases, we can get our work done offline and synchronize. This is our model for how we see small businesses and cloud technology. We believe that Google Apps, the Google suite of applications of Gmail, Calendar, Drive, and all of Google's documents and stuff like that is a foundational level for any small business. That allows you to get your work done, your internal communication, your communication with your customers, your scheduling. Microsoft's got a competing product to this, but that's a foundational level. Then above that, we look at, okay, well, what do we do for finance? We use something like Xero or something else. Training and compliance, we use our Google Sites, again, cloud-based, accessible anywhere on any device. And then we choose an application for what I call delivery management. So delivering our product or service. And that might be a time billing app. Might be a customer service ticketing communication app. Might be a project management app. Might be a inventory and distribution app. It might be a service delivery app. But whatever we're doing, we should be choosing something industry specific that's online and it's cloud-based. There is no more room for buy server, drop 100 grand on enterprise software, drop 100 grand a year on maintaining that, and the old way of doing things. Because that's what the incumbents in your industry are still doing. And your biggest opportunity is to start different. Now, who's 100% everything cloud in the business now? There'll be a few? Yeah, cool. So we call you guys cloud natives. It's most likely, have you started your businesses in the last 5 years? Would that be right? Okay, a little bit longer. Cool. We call cloud natives those that didn't start with this, have never had that in the business. Yeah. And those cloud natives, you have the biggest opportunity to compete against the incumbents in your industry. Now, my accountant will email me attachments, documents, and I can see from those documents, it's a letter, and I can see from those documents that it's something they've generated internally, printed out, scanned to email back to themselves, and then forwarded to me. And that makes me fucking mad, right? Because I know that I'm paying for their inefficiency. I know that I'm paying for that. And I know that in my business, where there's no paper and where we can work from anywhere and where we just don't have any of that, I know how much cheaper I can deliver services to my customers because I know that we're 30, 40, 50, sometimes 70% cheaper than any of our competitors. I know that. I know that when we go head-to-head and compete with one of our competitors, there is no competition. There is just no competition for what we do. So I want you to not criticize, but critique yourselves and just think, well, what are you doing that's inefficient that could be done radically differently? How can you be the Uber of your industry? I don't want to go too deep into that innovation stuff, but just think about, well, what are your customers actually thinking when you're doing things that kind of come across as a bit behind the times. Anyway. Cool, so Google Apps for Work. This is the suite of applications in Google Apps, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you kind of some of the highlights and some of the ways where you can work more efficiently and work differently with Google. The core suite of Google Apps for Work is Gmail, Calendar, completely useless social network called Google+, Google Sites. Oh, no laughs there. We got a giggle. All right, cool. Google Chrome, pretty obvious. Google Drive, which is effectively a complete rip-off of Dropbox, does everything Dropbox does, but it's integrated with the rest of the apps. And then Google Hangouts is the little kind of video call / chat app, a bit like Skype. But what Google Apps for Work lets you do, the business version, is you can actually bring your own domain name and your own email address. So you get to use your business email address. So when I sign into Google, it doesn't say peter.moriarty_sexyhoney69@gmail.com. I've actually got my business email address. There we go. Peter@ITGenius. And all my team have that as well. So the key thing there, whoops, let's go back to full screen. What's going on here? So the key thing there is this allows me to run my whole business, my business emails, my business file storage, my business communication, my collaboration, online from any device with no servers, no IT maintenance because it's all self-managed, no IT guys involved whatsoever. So this is what it actually looks like to use Google. So you get your work across different devices. It lets you co-author and co-edit documents at the same time. We're going to do a little bit of a demo on that. Google Hangouts is absolutely awesome for video calls, video conferencing, all that kind of stuff. And all of these organizations run Google Apps for their primary email and document storage, which you may be surprised by. Any surprises in there? There's obvious ones like, sorry? Yeah? Yep. So there's obvious ones there like Virgin and Kogan, sexy companies like that, right? You'd expect them to Uber run it, you know, all those, every single Silicon Valley startup runs it. Xero runs it. But then you've got like the more conservative organizations like New South Wales Department of Education and Training, Fortescue Metals, interesting. News Corp and Fairfax, they needed to save money, so pretty obvious why they went across. PwC, look at that. Pretty interesting. Woolworths moved 35,000 office employees over to Gmail, Docs, Drive, Google Calendar. They're one of the largest commercial customers of Google Apps in the world. 300,000 total store employees, all running on Google Apps. 35,000 was just their office workers. Guess what every one of their store employees uses for their systems, training, operations, how-tos, Google Sites? 300,000 staff using one or a bunch of Google Sites. Yeah. New South Wales Department of Education training over 1 million mailboxes, every student, every faculty member, and most of their management as well. There you go. Yeah. Now the point here is, looking back and looking at the universities that have moved across, is that the kids that are going through schools and then going into universities, now that all the universities are running it as well, will enter the workforce and demand that the company they work for, the brightest minds will demand that the company that they work for has the level of collaboration and tools that they are used to. Otherwise, they're not going to hang around. And so to attract that talent, we need to make sure that we're putting ourselves in the right place. Cool, let's get into some more techo stuff. Well, no, more practical stuff. The problem with email. Who remembers their first email address? Probably mid to late 90s, right? sexyhoney_69 at hotmail.com, something like that. Yep. We all had one. It's all good. And if you remember, if someone emailed you too many times or sent you too many attachments or anything like that, your mailbox would fill up, right? You had this 5 megabyte mailbox. And we used to get excited about email. Remember that too? Anyway. So what Microsoft came along was they created this thing called Outlook, and you could download your emails from the server and they'd sit on your computer on Outlook. And what that meant was your mailbox online wasn't filling up, right? And that worked okay until we started getting, as business owners, 200, 300 emails a day with attachments, back and forward. And then, as a business owner, we don't really want to delete any emails, do we? Because if we delete something and then in a year's time a customer comes back and says, oh, I want the same price as last year, or I want to sue you, then we have to have those emails there. So what do? We started putting stuff in folders and trying to delete the stuff that's not really important, or we try and archive, and it just turns into a mess. Because once we've got over 5 to 10 gigabytes worth of stuff, which is only 5 years worth of data for a business owner, once we've got that much data sitting in either Outlook or Mac Mail, because it's running on the power of our little local computer here, it starts to slow down. Search stops working. Starts to crash every now and again. Oh, I lost my data file when I moved to a new computer because it wasn't backed up properly. Right? Some of those kind of issues start coming up. You go to search for an email on your phone from more than a week ago, and it goes, oh, I can't do it, sorry. Too hard. Right? Yeah. So the key difference between using Gmail, and it's called Google Apps for Business, is you can put as much data in there as you like, retain every single email without any loss of performance, and still have access to absolutely everything. And I'm going to show you guys some cool, neat tricks in Gmail and how that works. Let me jump in here. So this is my Gmail, and I've actually set it up in productivity mode. So I've got my draft set up the top, replies there, start emails, and then my main inbox sits down here down the bottom. And I've got, 20, 25 odd emails in there. Now, if I want to look at, well, where's all of my emails, right? Where's my total mailbox sitting in my Gmail? I go to my storage management. Let's see how much I've got sitting in here. There we go, 29.5 gig of email. That's quite a bit, right? It's a decent amount. And you might be thinking, well, all right, Pete, well, how many emails is that in real terms? Well, I've never deleted a single email in 8 years of running this business. And if we go to my all mail folder, which is my archive, there's 260,000 emails in there. Yet, if I want to run a search and say, well, show me emails from 2011, bang, search is instant. Even if I ran the same search from my phone, same set of emails, instant. So what this means is we can remove the idea from our heads and the psychological pattern of I have to keep what's important, file that stuff into folders, and then delete all the junk. Who spends a lot of time deleting junk out of their mailbox every day, right? Now, that habit that we go through every day is in part because we used to have to delete stuff to keep our mailbox trim. Because if we don't archive, if we don't keep it nice and tidy, we're in this habit of clean up the junk. With Google, there's a couple of things that are different. Number one is the spam filtering is perfect. So, Google have nearly 1 billion people using Gmail, 980 million, or maybe they just popped over, I'm not sure. But because they have so many mailboxes they can peer into, the spam filtering is perfect. So what that means is spam is just not an issue anymore. You just forget that it was ever an issue. But what you can do with Gmail is the searching is so powerful that you just don't really need to use folders anymore. Who's like a pack rat? Who's folder queen or king? Well, a few people. All right. Well, let me show you some cool stuff with Gmail. So let's say I want to look for emails from a client of mine. His name is Marshall. So just start typing Marshall. And I can hit return here. It's going to bring up all emails back and forth between myself and Marshall. Now, there's a few emails here, right? There's a few hundred. If I keep going back a few years, there we go. That's the first 150 of many, it says, right? So it's going back to 2013. There's a few there. And I go, all right, well, maybe let's see if I can cut that down a little bit. I know that Belinda was CC'd in on that email, so I'm just going to pop in Belinda's email as well. There we go. Let's cut it down to 67. Let's cut the search down a bit. It's pretty handy. And just like a Google search, we can stack our searches and put in keywords. There we go. Put in the keyword invoice, and it's pulled it down to 11 emails. So if the search is that powerful, why would we bother putting things into folders anymore? But you don't need to. I've just pulled that down to 11 with a simple search. There's no scrolling there. Well, what's easier, spending 45 minutes a day moving stuff into folders? $30 to 45 minutes a day. So we've got a training program. When we implement Google Apps for a business, we put every single one of our customers. We good? Yeah. Cool. So when we implement Google Apps, we've got a training program where we put every single staff member of every one of our customers through our Gmail training program. It's called Inbox Zero. There's 30 videos just on managing your inbox every day and the principles of getting your inbox to here. Yet, I spend less than 45 minutes a day on email. Total. Verified by my rescue time.
So you still take them out of your inbox, though?
Correct, yeah. And I don't want to get too deep into that kind of stuff because we'll get lost down the void. But what I do want to illustrate to you guys is that the ability to have all of your emails online using Google's supercomputers running in the background dramatically changes how we work with email. Because all of a sudden, my computer's not doing the hard work here. Google's doing the hard work in the background, and my 250,000 emails are accessible from my machine, but it's not doing the heavy lifting here. And so the search works perfectly, and I'm able to retrieve and work with any email that I need to. Yeah. Yep. You can consolidate those together if you like. Yeah, I won't go too deep into detail on that, but you can consolidate that. Now, do you guys want some ninja tricks? Cool. All right. So, ninja trick number 1. We get a lot of emails on marketing, alerts, automated emails that come out, buggers who've rolled out Entreport and put us on an autoresponder, that dude who you met at a networking event who grabbed your business card and put you on his marketing list without your permission, right? We get those emails. And there are a lot of the emails that are hitting our inbox. It's common for a small business owner to get 200 to 300 emails per day hitting their inbox, right? Crazy. So one of the things that we can do is we can say, well, let's filter some of those emails out of our inbox. Google has rules, they're called filters, and they run in the background even when you're not sitting at your computer. And so if I search for the word unsubscribe, I can actually filter any email that hits my inbox with the word unsubscribe contained somewhere in that email and have it skip my inbox. And just think what that's going to pick up. Most marketing emails, automated response emails, ticketing systems, alerts, account notifications, all of that junk, because they're not emails from real people. So what we do is we say, right, we grab those emails and we filter them, we create a filter, and we skip the inbox. This little tick box here says skip the inbox. And then what we do is we apply a label, which basically means put it in a folder. We call that folder news. And then what we do is once a day, or once every couple of days, we just go to our news folder and we just check what junk is in there. We just browse past it and see, is there anything important that I need from here? But what that's doing is that's making sure that none of this junk is ever going to hit our inbox. Yeah. And you can see, since this morning, since midnight, it's already filtered nearly 50 emails that would have otherwise hit my inbox. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, awesome. So what we want is we want to make sure that emails that are coming into our inbox are only emails from real people that require real action. And that's one of the ways that we can do that. Pretty handy, right? Cool. All right. So what this also means is that if you're a marketer, when you send emails, don't use the word unsubscribe. And all that's required by law is that you have a way of unsubscribing from your emails. Entreport out of the box, it says update your preferences. But I know with certain email marketing platforms, you can actually change what that says. So we changed ours to say click here. Click here to update your email subscription preferences. Anyway, there you go, a little pro tip. Cool. So next one is Google allows us to have third-party add-ons, apps, and integrations that enhance the functionality of the Google platform. So right in Gmail, there's a whole app store of plugins, programs, extras that let you do more. So when I'm composing an email to someone, Let's say I send it to Hardy, one of my colleagues. Let's say this is a super important email. I'm going to just bash out something here. Now, I use a little app, and you might want to write this one down. It's called Yesware, Yesware. And it's just at yesware.com. Now, what this lets you do is send intelligent emails right from your inbox. So what Yesware lets me do is right here when I'm composing an email, you can see I've written out my important email to Hardy. Now Yesware it's right down the bottom here, sits right down the bottom of my email, my toolbar. Number one, I can choose whether or not to track whether or not that person has opened my email. Now, it doesn't ask for a red receipt like Microsoft does, which is proprietary Microsoft technology and doesn't work across platforms anyway. What this does is does the same thing that MailChimp does, is it puts a tiny pixel in the email, and as soon as they open the email, without them even knowing, it reports it back to you whether or not they've opened it. Yeah, pretty handy, huh?
How can you avoid, can you stop people from being able to see that with your own emails?
There are ways, yes. Next, you can set intelligent reminders to remind yourself to follow up after you've sent this email. What normally happens when we send an email and we need to do a follow-up? We either write it in our diary, or we star or we flag the email, or we open up our paper-based diary and we write it down there, or we put in a reminder on a calendar or something like that, or you just don't remember it. Or you just leave it in your inbox, because that's your follow-up folder, right? You just leave it hanging there to remind you. So what Yesware also allows us to do is say, set an intelligent reminder only if they don't get back to me. Only if they don't get back to me, and you set a time frame, you say either within 24 hours or maybe within a week. Let's give him 24 hours. I say confirm, I set that reminder. Now I can send this email, it's out of sight, out of mind, and only if Hardy has not yet got back to me will it pop the conversation back up into my inbox and I can pop off another email. So think about how useful that would be for chasing invoices. That contractor who's a little bit slack on email and you've always got to chase them up. Delegating something to someone. You shouldn't be doing that on email, but whatever. What this allows us to do is send intelligent reminders. Even sending a proposal or a quote or an action plan to a customer, and you want to make sure that you are on top of being on top of them. Super easy. Useful? Yeah, I use it every single day. It is absolutely phenomenal. And what people will find is that you're just really, really, really good on email. Because you'll send an email and go, okay, within what time do I need to hear back from this person? Well, ideally, they need to get back to me within a day or two, so typically I'll use the next weekday afternoon reminder, send off my email, and if they don't get back to me, it'll just pop that conversation back up into my inbox. See if I can see one. I can't see one here at the moment. That's all right. But what it does, it brings it back up in your inbox, you hit reply again, you can send it again. Now, what happens if you want to send an email and just be reminded to follow up no matter what? Well, I can send one, and I say, remind me, and I untick this box here, only if nobody replies, and maybe I'll set it for a month. Now, that's perfect for when you've just completed a project with a customer, just delivered your product or service or whatever that is, and you want to remind yourself, hey, in a month's time, I'm going to go and follow up with them. Dear Mr. So-and-so, thank you very much, just signed off on your project, we're all done, and then in a month's time, it pops up, you hit reply and say, hey, just checking in how things are going. Or if someone says, hey, you know what, a little bit busy right now, but can we chat in 6 months? You say, yep, sure, great. Bang, set reminder 6 months. It pops up. Now, this is different to what you're doing in something like Entreport. Entreport is for your drip feeding and your marketing campaigns and your education, which are going to generate leads for you. Every now and again, you're going to have a little bit of back and forward on email that might not be happening in Entreport. That's what this is for. You don't use this as a replacement. This is not an autoresponder. You don't use this as a replacement for those marketing emails. This is for the stuff that you have to do in your inbox to make sure you're efficient. And then finally, it also allows you to drop in templated, scripted emails. Yeah. So the emails that you're scripting out as you build out your systems, you can have them all built straight in to Yesware. Again, this is not the stuff that you do in Entreport. This is not your automated sequences or anything like that. What this is for your day-to-day stuff to make you more efficient by not having to repeat stuff over and over again or type out the same thing. Question?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do, so you've got your Google Sites,
Yep.
email. How does Yesware come?
So Yesware's a plugin. It's a little add-on. Yeah, so once you go to yesware.com and you add it, you'll see here it sits up here in my Gmail once I've added it to Gmail, and then these little green bits here are the Yesware extras. Yeah, it's $12 per user per month. There's actually a free, I forgot to mention it, there's a free alternative, which is a direct rip-off of Yesware. Does all the same stuff, tiny bit clunky, but it works. It's just the interface isn't quite as zippy. It's wizzy.io. So that's a free alternative. Yeah, cool. Who thinks they could save a bit of time in their email just implementing this? Yeah, pretty cool, huh? Yeah, very, very cool. All right, rock and roll. Cool. We're going to move on, guys. So I'm going to go through the rest of the Google Apps ecosystem and show you guys kind of how it works, how the different bits and pieces work. Google Calendar is pretty straightforward. Who's used Google Calendar before? Yeah, cool. Most people. Great. So you guys know that it'll synchronize between all your different devices and wherever you are, your calendar is and all that fun stuff. What's really cool is when you start working with teams. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a test event here. When you start working with teams, it gets really, really useful, particularly if, for example, I want to catch up with a couple of my colleagues. So let's go Jello, Hardy, Regina, who else? Red. Maybe Eric. Cool. So I've added a few of my team members that I want to have a catch up with, but I don't know when we're all available to meet. And what I'd normally do is go through all our shared calendars and see who's available when. Well, Google's got this cool little button here called Suggested Times. And I just click that and it tells me, based on all our calendars, when we're available for a catch up. Yeah. Pretty cool, huh? Yep. Now, this is not different to anything that you would expect to see in an enterprise calendar app. You know, if you've got a server and Microsoft Exchange and all that kind of stuff, you can do this. But the key thing is with Google, you don't have 100 buttons that you don't know how to use. You have 10 buttons that are the right buttons that are easy for everyone to use. And they will use them. So, let me show you some other cool stuff with your calendar. Now, if I want to schedule a meeting with someone who's maybe outside the business, what do we normally do? We email them back and forward. How's Tuesday? How's Wednesday? How's 3 a.m.? How's 2 p.m.? Back and forward, back and forward. And then you go back and forward 5 emails. You go, fuck it. I'm just going to pick up the phone and call them and organize that meeting. But then, you know, you're either wasting your time doing that and you're interrupting them. And then, you know, or you're hiring a PA to do that. All that kind of crap, right? What we do is, if you visit our website, there's a free consultation button. And what that does is it brings up an offer page, and this is great for anyone who's in any kind of consulting services, particularly for you guys. What this offer page does is it says, hey, connect with a genius for a 30-minute strategy call offer, right? But here on the page, we have a widget. And notice that this is offering up appointment slots publicly for a consult call. So you can see here the next available one is Wednesday, August 31. 10 a.m. to 10:35. Let's go have a look at what I'm up to on the 31st. There we go. We've got some time open. So I've told it that I only want to be available between 10 and 3 on weekdays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And what it does is it's automatically going to pop that calendar event into my calendar. And this is what it looks like. There we go. I get all the customers' details, which number I need to call. But what this does is it gives your customers a self-service way of getting in touch with you. Just imagine it's 10 p.m. on Sunday night and someone's browsing around Google and they're thinking, shit, I've really got to get my tax return done. I really got to get it done. Need an accountant who can help me out. They jump on Google. They come across your website and it says, put your details into the contact form or call us. And they go, it's 10 p.m. Sunday night. Well, I can't call them. Contact form. I'm going to have to type it out. It's a little bit hard. This gives them an avenue to get the instant gratification that they want of doing something, making meaningful progress towards fixing their problem. Who do you think is going to convert that customer? Someone who allows them to self-serve, or someone who's putting barriers in front of them where they know, oh, if I put my details in this contact form, you know what, I might not hear back from them till Tuesday, don't know what's happening. This gives them instant access to you.
So hang on, how do they know, like, why does that look different to them who don't know this program
Yep.
compared to, like you said, just a normal form?
Well, what this does is this is talking to my calendar live. So this is opening up live appointment slots that are available in real time based on my calendar and allowing someone to book in then and there. Yeah. So they can see all of these calendar times are based on what's on my Google Calendar because they're talking to each other in the background.
And this was within your Google Calendar, or is it
This is a third-party app. I'm going to show you guys what app I use to do that. Yeah. Yeah, but they pick a time slot and then it asks for all of their details, first name, last name, email address, all that kind of stuff. It's effectively a lead registration form, but what it's allowing them to do is automatically schedule an appointment with you. Yeah. And this is just, the point here is that this is just one integration app with Google Calendar. There's thousands. Yesware is one integration app with Gmail. There's thousands. There's effectively a Google Chrome app store, which lets you use all of these tools. So I'm going to show you what tools I use for this. There's a free one called youcanbook.me, which connects to your Google Calendar and then gives you a little widget code that you can pop on your website and have someone book in meetings and connect it straight to your Google Calendar. The one that we use happens to work with our CRM, which is called Appointment Core, C-O-R-E. It's a commercial one. I don't know, it's $30, $50 a month, something like that. If you're using Entreport, you want to check out Schedule Once. Is that the best one for calendar? I use Calendly. All right, cool. And that integrates with Entreport. You can tag someone. Calendly. It's that, isn't it? Calendly. There we go. That's really hard to say. There you go. All right, it's a little bit hard to see it actually, but anyway, it's there. So Calendly. So these are tools that allow you to get more out of the platform, and that's the key thing with Google is having third-party apps, integrations, plugins which enhance the functionality. That's really what's key with Google. Any questions on Calendar, guys? Anything you want to know how to do, or can it do, or how does it do this, Pete? Anything like that? No, we're cool? Yeah. Cool. Mm. Yep. Look, they're all pretty similar feature-wise. It just depends on mostly on what CRM you want to plug it into in the background and how it works in with your business processes. The big question is not you know, which one of these apps is the right app, you know, because they all do the pretty similar thing. What matters is what is the way that I can best optimize my customer journey or my prospect journey, and which tool is going to best support that. That's the question that you need to be asking. So all of these tools, you know, any online marketing tool, any CRM tool, any business tool, the question is not, you know, what's the right tool and what is the most features and that kind of thing. The correct question is, for the business outcome that we want, what tool is going to best support the business outcome? That's what matters. Yeah. So, you know, try not to get caught up in, you know, if I've got one and it's kind of working, should I switch? I wouldn't worry about that. You'd only switch if there was a compelling business reason too, or you were missing a big chunk of what you wanted to achieve. Cool. We had a question over here. Yeah. Yes.
Managing task lists and
Yep.
that sort of thing.
Yep.
Is there an application?
Look, not really. Google's got some ways of doing tasks internally. The Google tasks within Gmail are terrible. Google does have an app called Google Keep, which is pretty good for tasks. Not really good for collaborating on tasks with your team. The one that we love is called Asana, which is A-S-A-N-A. We really love this for group tasks, particularly if you haven't had an online task management app before, because this integrates fully with Google Apps, so it integrates with your accounts and with your calendars and with all the other bits and pieces. But it's also free for up to 15 people. We really like recommending tools that are free, easy for you to get started with, because people get a little bit annoyed with the tax of $10 here, $10 here, $10 here per person. So yeah, Asana's free for up to 15 employees, integrates beautifully with Google, really simple and easy to use as well. You can integrate with time logging apps, but what it's really great at is collaborative tasks and sharing tasks with your team. Yeah. Cool. All right, everyone cool with Calendar? Let's get into Google Drive. So Google Drive works in effectively the same way that Dropbox works. So you're pretty much getting exactly the same experience that you'd be used to Dropbox. Now, who's used Dropbox? Cool. Are you guys using it for everything, or are there some that are still using it for like only some of your stuff? Sorry? Only some. Okay. Any particular reason for that? Okay, cool.
I had to do it because of the documents I send them to me. So
Yep.
I kind of had no choice but to use
To start using that? Yep.
So can you swap to that?
Absolutely, yeah. So Google Drive does everything that Dropbox does. So you've got an online interface where you can see here I've got folders and I've got files sitting there as well. And then that's mirrored with, on my desktop, a local copy of all that stuff as well. So anything that I put into my local folders here, I've got a little demo folder, anything that I put into there is going to be instantly uploaded to Google and then available online in the same set of folders online there. Dropbox does the same thing. Yeah, so and any computer that I install this on, I'm going to see the same set of files and folders. Now, with Google Drive, I can either drop in Word documents, Excel documents in their original format. I can use the Google documents, which we'll go through in a second. I can drop in photos, I can drop in videos, any of that kind of stuff. And whatever machine I'm working on, I'm able to work with it. Now, if I was to drop a glass of water on my laptop, which I've done many times, spilt glasses of wine, I've run over one, I had one stolen from my car, I'm able to sign into a new computer, have all my stuff there. And that's the most powerful thing about getting 100% of your business cloud-based and getting all of your files and putting them into Dropbox or Google Drive. Now, the key advantage of Google Drive is it lets you use the Google Documents, which I'll show you in a second, but also, obviously, it's fully integrated with my business email address. Google Apps has one login across all of these different applications. So as you grow and you scale your team, rather than, oh, new person, new Skype login, new Dropbox login, new $10 a month over here, you just give them the one Google Apps account, which is, they pay their $5 a month per person. That gives you access to the whole suite of apps. One login does absolutely everything for the business. And if you're using Asana for your task management, well, they use their Google login for that. If you're using Xero and you want to give certain staff access to that, well, they can use their Google login for that. So everyone doesn't get stuck with 50 different passwords for absolutely everything that they're using. You can see the pictures and stuff are starting to get uploaded into up into my online Google Drive, starting to appear there. Now, I flew from Sydney to Adelaide for a presentation. I landed in Adelaide, I had a presentation at 10 o'clock that morning, and I'd left my laptop in Sydney. And I had my files, my business, absolutely everything on the laptop in Sydney. So what did I do? I walked into the Apple store in Adelaide CBD, bought a new laptop, went and did the presentation because I was able to sign in and have everything there. Now think about if right now I dropped a glass of water on your laptop, how much of that would you have to recover from backup, or what would be lost? What's sitting on your desktop right now, which is not backed up or saved somewhere else? This is your ticket to complete freedom from whatever device that you're using. Because it means that I can borrow someone else's machine, sign in, have all my stuff, or use my mobile device, sign in, have all my stuff. When you pay $5 a month for the Google Apps for Work suite, which gives you Gmail, Calendar, and Docs, and all those other bits and pieces, you get 30 gigabytes of storage per person, which is heaps. You can pay $10 a month and get unlimited for everyone. So like our internet plans, we don't really worry about our bandwidth nowadays because most of them are just unlimited. Think about computer storage and online storage in the same way. It's just not really needed that much anymore. So I want to show you guys some cool stuff on using Google Docs, and this is where Google really comes alive. Now, you would have noticed that my presentations are actually running out of the browser. Yeah, so this is a Google Slides presentation, which is effectively Google's rip-off of PowerPoint. But I want to show you guys Google Docs. Let's open up. Where's our little website demo? Do I even have it in there? No, maybe not. All right, I'll open that bad boy. What I'd like to show you is, we'll open up some Google Docs and I'll show you guys how they work.
While you're doing that, is there any limitation to folders as to how deep you can go?
Nah, not at all.
Main link code?
No, I wouldn't go crazy on that. But yeah, no, but that's fine. So this is a Google document. This is what their rip-off of Word is effectively, and this is not designed to be a full replacement for Microsoft Office. You can still use Microsoft Documents. But what Google Documents let you do is share and work collaboratively with other team members. So what I can do here is on my document, if you have a look up the top there, it says last edit was 24th of July. When I start making some changes, see how it says saving and then saved? It's instantly saving every single change I make to the document. Who's ever worked on a document for 2 hours and then computers crash and you've lost it? Yeah, right? So what Google does is it saves a new version of the document every single time I make a change. And I can go and have a look at my revision history. Let's just zoom in a little bit. I can go and look at my revision history. And what that shows me is every single version of the document right back to the beginning of time. So I can say, right, show me what changed on 26th of June 2015. Yeah. And who made that change? So I can see Andrew made that change there. And then let me scroll up. I can see here on 20th, there's Peter and Kelvin have both made some changes. There we go. Kelvin's made some changes there. And I can scroll up. Oh, some more from Kelvin, 14th of July. There we go. Let's exit that mode. So every different version of the document is saved and recoverable. So it means that I can share this document with somebody else in my business. They can make changes to it, and I won't be afraid that they're going to overwrite my changes or that they're going to disappear. So let's look at another example. So I've got a document here. Let's open up. Where is my search for content? You can, but not in the same way. So you can still work with Microsoft documents, but you can't work with them live, which is what I'm going to show you guys. So here we have a document here. So this is a spreadsheet, and this is basically our social media and content syndication. So blogs and podcasts and that kind of stuff. So we use this to track who's kind of shared what. And when I hit the share button, I can share that with anyone on my team and see, I've just shared it with groups mostly there, but each one of those people can work on this document. Now, from this one document, I have virtual assistant in the Philippines, I have content writer in Canada, and I have video editor in States, who are all working on this document together and getting work done without conference calls, without back and forward. So who's got their laptop out? Shall we do a little demo? So, what's your best email address? Okay, Fran, oops, you're going to have to help me with spelling.
C-I-N-E.
Yep.
At Mayvin,
Yep. .com.au. Awesome. So I'm going to give you edit access. I'm going to go ahead and send that. Awesome. Now Francine's going to jump into this document, and this is called live editing. So we can have as many people as we like live editing and live working on a document at the same time. So we'll just wait for Francine to pop up. So she's going to pop up in the top right-hand corner. We will see her, we'll see a little picture pop up. There we go. Cool. And now we're going to see Francine's cursor. Do you want to just start writing some stuff? Go nuts. There we go. So this is live co-authoring of a document. Now Francine could be anywhere in the world on any device. She could be on her iPad, phone, anywhere. Now, Now, can you guys see that what this opens up is our ability to outsource, our ability to work from anywhere and everywhere that we need to. Thanks. But what this allows us to do is, without servers or VPNs or remote desktop or anything like that, get our work done where we need to. Yep. Yep.
And I started editing it.
Yep.
And his teacher's like, please don't edit, he needs to do it himself.
That's brilliant. That's great. So what this allows us to do, think about how you might currently be working with documents now. You work on a document, you author it, you get started. And what do? You save it to your Dropbox, or you save it to the server folder. And then someone else wants to work on the document. They go to open it. Oh, can't open it. Someone else is open in that document right now. Someone else is using it. All right, read-only mode, or make a copy. Or, hey, we need to both work on this proposal presentation together, but someone works on it and then they attach it to an email and then they send it over to someone else, right? Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. So we can both work at the same time because we've got different cursors. So I'm typing down the bottom here. Francine can punch in some text. Her cursor's up there. Yeah. There we go. So you'll find that these are a basic and more... Whoops, that's the wrong one. These are a basic and more cut-down version of what you would expect to get with Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. But the key thing is... I'm trying to find... Where's my document? There we go. GAM, yep. The key thing here is that what this allows us to do is work collaboratively, and that's where it really shines. So the Excel equivalent, Google Sheets, has pretty much any formula that you'd expect to see in Excel with Microsoft. You don't have macros, but you've got all the formulas there. But what this allows us to do is work collaboratively. So you can see I've got a couple of my team members here. We've got Hardy and we've got Vincent. And I can scroll down anywhere on this document and actually find where their cursors are. If it's going to show me. Maybe not. I don't know where they're working. Anyway. But what this will allow me to do is Hardy is in Fiji because he's on holidays with his family at the moment, and Vincent's in the Philippines. And I'm down here in Wollongong. And so 3 people can get work done together no matter where we are. And that's the absolute key with Google Apps, is opening and enabling that ability to work in any location at any time on any device. So any questions, guys? Anything you want me to run through, show you guys? You can. We've done away with Office completely in our business. Yeah. So at any point you can convert a Microsoft document over to a Google format document. So you hit one button and it converts it. If it's Excel, it'll convert all the formulas and stuff over. If it's a Word document, it'll do its best to bring over all the fonts and everything. What you'll typically find is converting a document, you will have small bits and pieces that don't come across perfectly. But what we do is we recommend, for your own internal documents, convert them all once. You might have to do a bit of a cleanup on the documents, and then you can start using Google Docs moving forward. What you'll probably find is you'll keep Microsoft Office on your computers for probably about a year after transitioning over. Or you might just use this, get a free Gmail account and just use this on the side for little bits and pieces. But we'd obviously recommend moving the whole business across, because what that allows you to do is get rid of the server, get rid of the IT person, the whole thing's self-manageable. And I'll show you guys what it looks like on the management side. So when you purchase a business account, and our whole business is helping customers make the switch over to Google. It's our core business. But what you get access to as the business owner is this administration panel. And this is where you manage all of the back end of your Google account. So I can go into users, and I can add, remove, reset passwords, do anything else, rename, do anything else that I need to do with my team members. If I want to create a new user, I just put in first name, last name, email address, and it sets them up, nice and easy. But what this means is that I have full control of my business technology. Instead of, I need to set someone up, I'll call the web host or call the IT guy, set them up on the server, set up the redirect, set up the spam filtering, set up the Exchange mailbox, set up their computer, set up Outlook, configure all that junk. Just Go here, go add new user. They get an email address and a password. That unlocks access to everything that they need. Nice and easy. Cool. Any other questions? Yeah.
Notice that you're using a Mac.
Yes.
Mac versus PC.
Mac versus PC. You can use whichever you like. Google works really great across both of them. So yeah, it's completely up to you. Everything runs, as you would have noticed, in the Google Chrome browser. So what that means is whether I'm on a Mac or a PC or even a Chromebook or Chrome device, doesn't really matter. Either way, it works fine. Yeah. Someone who's not on Google? Great question. So you've got a couple of options. You can either, with any of these documents, like I might decide that I want to, with these documents, I might decide that I want to send it to someone, and so I can email it as an attachment. I've got a little option here, and I can choose, do I want to convert it to a PDF, or do I want to convert it to a Microsoft Excel document? And it'll convert it on the fly, attach it to an email, and then send it to them. So you've always got that option to do that. But what we find is for most businesses, you'll do most of your work on Google Docs internally, and then you can just share via this share link. And anyone I send this link to, even if they're not on Gmail or Google or anything like that, they can actually open the document and with my permission either edit or just have view-only access to that document. And what that lets me do is collaborate with those outside of my business. So just imagine how you could collaborate better with your customers. Removing the need to email files back and forward. So we'll share project plans. We'll share incident plans, all that kind of stuff. What our team do is every time they work with a customer, we need to collect a full list of everyone's staff and email addresses to set that business up on Google. So what we do is our team have a template, spreadsheet. They create a new spreadsheet for each customer, and then they email it out to the customer. Andy's going through the process with us at the moment. So what our team do is they create a new spreadsheet, and they send it over to Andy. Have you put any data in yours yet? Okay, good. So I can open it and show the guys what it looks like? Cool. All right. Otherwise, your passwords and stuff would be in there. All right. Great question. So Google have your data stored in at least 3 geographically distributed locations at any one time. It's highly, 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 highly unlikely that Google will lose your data. It would really only be in the event of nuclear apocalypse or something like that that it would somehow go, but still highly unlikely. There are third-party backup services that you can use to back up Google, make a copy of Google's data, if you want to, if you really want that extra peace of mind. But for the most part, Woolworths run on it. Thousands and thousands of businesses run on the platform. Google don't really kind of accidentally lose data and then go, oops. But there are certainly ways of even manually making a backup. Yeah. Security is a great question. So if you've got a keen eye, you would have noticed that every single one of Google's applications have an HTTPS up in the top menu bar there. And what that means is that your connection to Google is 100% encrypted, which is exactly the same as what you see when you go to your bank. What that means is between my computer and Google is all scrambled, encrypted messages. And so, for example, if I was sitting down at a dodgy internet cafe and someone was snooping on the traffic that was going from my computer out to the internet, there's no way they'd be able to see any of this. And likewise, when the files and folders and even the stuff that you drop into your Google Drive that sits here on your desktop, any of that stuff that you drop in there, your connection to Google is fully encrypted. So even the moment you put something into your Google Drive here, as it's getting synchronized to Google, it gets encrypted right along the way. Yeah. So you can also switch on something really cool, which is called two-factor authentication. And what that does is that's like an extra layer of security. So who's got a key fob for their business bank account? Have you ever got those? Yeah. So a little digit thing gives you a 6-digit code. So Google's got the same thing. It's called Google Authenticator. And what it does is it's a little app that generates 6-digit codes every minute. So I've got a little app sitting on my phone here. This is free for all Google accounts. So you can switch this on for your team. And what it means is that when I sign into my Google account on a new device, from a new computer, from a new location, even with my username and password, it's always going to prompt me for this. So it's called Google Authenticator. Yeah. Oh, well, it's called two-step verification. So you can switch that on for free on any Google account, even a personal Gmail account. But what we recommend is certainly for business accounts is to have this. And what that means is, well, if all the connections are encrypted and your account's locked down with your second factor device, which is your smartphone, even if you were to tweet your Gmail username and password, no one can get access to your account without this, without the second factor device. And that gives you the peace of mind that nobody else can get into your account. There's just no way.
What about the Australian factor in that? I know there's some confusing things out there at the moment that aren't allowing any of the data to be stored outside Australia.
Yeah, only really medical records. Everything else is pretty sweet. Check with your lawyer, of course. But the privacy laws have now changed to be less about where the data is stored and more about how you control access to that data.
Microsoft at the moment is in the middle of moving. Have you seen that? Like I got an email the other day saying I need to make a choice if my data has to be in Australia.
Yeah.
Tell them and they'll do this so I only get stored in Australia.
Yeah, it's basically like that panders to the general fear of data being outside of Australia, which is just junk, really. It's like, for the most part, in small businesses, that's just an anti-cloud fear that's made its way to I have to have my data in Australia. And it's the same kind of fear of my data is safer if it's in a box sitting in my office.
I'm not talking about the fear, 'cause I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like, I know that some of the clients I deal with in some of their industries actually, they are not
Yeah,
allowed
of course.
to have their data. So I'm talking
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so that would be, so if you're in a medical industry, patient data, for the most part, needs to stay in Australia. However, that doesn't stop that business from putting all of their administration documents, their back office documents, and everything else on something like Google Apps. We've got plenty of customers in the medical, clinical space who all happily run Google Apps.
So Google's not looking at doing one.
Don't need to. Yeah, it's because the legislation is catching up. Like the privacy laws have now caught up. The privacy laws now no longer say customer data has to be kept in Australia. The privacy laws now say that whoever is accessing the data, whether they're in Australia or someone else, it has to be protected. And when you can go, whether you're in financial services, we've got heaps of financial services businesses, we've got heaps of, not heaps in the medical space, but quite a few. If you can say to your regulator that I have two-factor authentication enforced for everyone in my business, and all of the connections are encrypted, where I'm accessing my data from, and everybody who accesses that data is controlled by one login, you're going to be way ahead of anybody else who's doing it the old way with servers and syncing and all of that. Yeah. So you're pretty safe there. Cool. All right, we're going to take a couple of questions and we've got to finish up, don't we?
Your call?
My call. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much for listening. And yeah.